In a world filled with screens and distractions, we invite you to reconnect with the natural world around you. Welcome to NatureBound, a podcast dedicated to unpacking the intrinsic bond between humans and nature. We'll uncover the benefits of spending time outdoors, including how a nature-centric lifestyle can improve your mental health, elevate your leadership skills, and unleash your creativity. And now here's your host, outdoor enthusiast, and renowned author of The 7 Principles of the Magic Rock, Emanuel Rose.
Welcome to NatureBound. This episode, we're going to delve deeply into the way that we think and the tools to get rid of old thinking processes and develop new ones. And it's my pleasure to welcome to the show Dawna Campbell.
Welcome. Thank you for having me here with you today on NatureBound.
You betcha. Well, Dawna, can you share a little bit about your background so we can understand where you're coming from?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think in the world that I'm in with how our thoughts work, we're always our own first client. And so for me, I grew up in Silicon Valley during the time of the big tech era when that was booming. But it automatically paints a picture to everybody that there was lots of money, there was abundance, because everybody had all of these luxury things. But that wasn't true because a lot of people in that area, although the tech area was there, were the blue collar workers that were making all the little microchips for all the computers and everything coming out.
Right.
And my family wasn't any different. So we grew up pretty much near poverty. And that meant, because that means different things to different people, we were on food stamps, public assistance, welfare, and then both of my parents worked. So it wasn't like they weren't sitting around not doing anything. And so it really instilled in me this belief that there was abundance for all people. And I wanted to create opportunities for people that maybe didn't have all the things that were offered that I saw all my friends being offered, like going to college. And so I first became a financial advisor, and I was a managing principal of an investment firm. And that sounds really good. And I was responsible for $500 million of other people's money. But what happened with that at that career, the stress, the worry, the pressure broke down my health. I couldn't digest food for over 2 years. My marriage ended out of infidelity. And then I became financially devastated myself during the global recession. And all of those things happened within 5 years.
Wow.
So that's the background to how and who we are with our thoughts and how we can really create with them.
Well, that's quite the descent into the abyss in the hero's journey
Yep.
model, right? So what was kind of that pivotal moment for you where you said, "Wow, this is bad. This is not what I want, and I got to do something different." And then what did you do from that point?
Yeah, I had already learned about my food not being digested. And I remember the energy worker, naturopathic doctor I went to, she said, there's something in your life that you're not able to digest, but don't go looking for it. It'll naturally surface. And
Yeah.
within 3 months, it was the infidelity of my marriage.
Uh,
So that came out. A year later, I went through the divorce process and all of that. I decided to move to an ashram. It's a spiritual living community
yeah.
because I recognized that those two things had me in common. And because of that, I started really looking at brainwave patterns, meditation, who am I, and how that whole process worked. But the defining moment was this was 2-3 years after I was through my marriage divorce. I was dating this one person, and at the end of 2 years, he decided to attempt to take my life.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
And so it was in that moment when he took his hand off, I knew I couldn't retaliate, although he asked for me to do that, which was a really strange request. But
Wow.
I left. And when I did, I made a promise to the universe, to God, to Creator, that if myself and my children were kept safe, I would really dedicate my life to this healing path. And when you make a promise like that, the universe makes sure you fulfill it.
Yeah.
So that
Right. Those kind of moments where your higher self and your psychology catch up with each other, and you're centered and focused into what you were incarnated for.
Yep, exactly.
Wow.
Except, yeah, it was a very interesting moment to get there. I would not ever wish that on anyone.
Right. Well, that's that way with initiations, though, right? We don't get to choose how we get initiated. We just have to observe and interpret the initiation and then make the best of it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely there.
Wow. Well, that is an interesting. You have a very interesting story, and I'm wondering, one of the things that people always say when we talk about meditation is like, "Well, I don't know how to meditate. I don't know how to get started. I don't know what to do." Right? Like in our
Mhm.
culture, we've totally that lost touch with that practice. So, what's kind of your way of helping people go from being interested in it to actually doing something with
Mhm.
meditation, and what styles of meditation?
What is really interesting about that is a lot of people have different thought processes about what meditation is and isn't. And on a basic science level, it's an alteration of your brainwave patterns.
Right.
And so a lot of people think you have to sit around and go om and clear your mind and silence it and have no thought, which, by the way, is incredibly hard. So what I like to do when I teach meditation is what I call sensory meditations. Because if we give the brain a job to do and focus on one task, then we can actually complete the meditation. So it's centering yourself and say, for example, you can focus on your breathing. A lot of times people do that. You can focus
Mhm.
on hearing, you can focus on a dot on the wall, but you're giving the brain something to do. And when you do, everything in the brain relaxes and unfolds, and then you get centered, you get balanced. And when that comes in for the meditation, your mind is clear. Did all of the thoughts go away? Probably not.
Right.
But when you give the brain a task, then you can go into meditation.
Yeah, Sadhguru has an interesting take on that. He says, "You spend all this time developing this mind muscle, and then you expect that in the first time you sit down to try to not have the mind muscle work, that it's going to be gone. You know, like the brain has its function, and it's not going to be eliminated, right?"
Exactly, exactly. And then it also, depends on what style of meditation you want to have as well, because there's dynamic meditation where people teach you to visualize, which then engages the frontal cortex. And
Yeah,
then there's the transcendental, which is the no thought.
right.
My personal favorite way to meditate is when I sit. I live in Montana, so I get to stare at my scenery and my trees, kind of
Very
like that's right
nice.
behind you.
Yeah,
And I just, focus myself and I just look out into nature. I breathe and I let my mind do what it needs to do. And
right.
if there's thoughts, but they quiet down and then they go away. And then you're just suspended in that state.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Um, okay, so then for people that are thinking about getting started, is there one meditation that you kick people off with, or how do you manage that?
I one that I teach, and it's in all of my coursework because what we want to do when we make changes with our thoughts and the energy frequencies behind it, you want to be between an alpha and a theta alpha brainwave.
Right.
One of the ways and the easiest ways to get there is to use your breath. And so when you breathe, you are breathing in oxygen, all the good things our body needs. And when we breathe out carbon dioxide, all the things our body doesn't need. And so focus that. We're going to breathe in a positive word, something we want, say peace. And then we're going to breathe out the word, say stress, the piece that we don't want.
Yeah.
And do that for 3 to 5 minutes. Breathing in peace, breathing out stress. And in that time frame, you're going to drop into that alpha. And if you did it 2 times in a row, you'll probably go into a theta alpha brainwave. And it slows it all down and increases the vibrational level. And you're just in that state.
Yeah.
And when you're done, you have more focus, you have more clarity, you have more balance. So when you go back to the work task that you're doing, it happens 20 times faster because you got the energy to the brain.
Yeah, I love that. That is, I learned that one at a Buddhist meditation
Mhm.
workshop that I went to, and it's been. I actually use that when I'm playing golf, of all
Yep.
things. That helps me stay focused and be in the moment versus in that kind of type A wanting to control the world.
Yes. Yep. Yep. And like you, I learned it from a yoga healer. He taught me 5 sensory meditations that
Yeah,
I have to do every single day to go into an energy of no thought.
yeah. No, that's beautiful. Um, I guess now you work with clients, you work with other people, and you have for a while now.
Mhm.
And what are some of the common challenges that people face when we enter into this work of I'm dissatisfied, I've had these terrible things happen, I'm confused. Like, what are the common kind of challenges that people have in this transitional state?
So there's 2 main things that people come for in the in all areas. One is they always say they want more money or something financial.
Yep.
And when I ask why, they usually tell me about a lifestyle that they want,
Hmm.
which is great. The beach sea, being on vacation, but working, that's great
Yeah.
until the computer onto the beach and you realize there's sand everywhere.
Right.
I tried that once.
Yeah.
So they tell you about the lifestyle that they want and the way that they want to live and with their family. And then that's usually hitting all of the relationship categories as well because they want to have and experience this blissful love. And then after about 10 or 15 minutes in conversation, they say, "Oh, is that why I have this problem with my stomach? Or is that why I have, this respiratory thing?" And the answer is yes. So health is the third area. So wealth, health, and relationships, but that's
Hmm.
usually the pathway.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is when they start talking about wanting an increase in money or an increase in financial well-being, the other thing that they typically say is, "I need confidence. I don't have confidence,"
Mm.
which is really interesting because they're confident that they don't have confidence. So they already have confidence on the other end of the spectrum. So we
Yeah,
have to
right.
reverse that.
Oh, interesting. Well,
Mhm.
let's dig into that. I think that's a fascinating. I haven't heard that before. So what is it about confidence, and where does confidence come from, and how do we end up without it, and how do we get it?
Yeah. Confidence is really about having that internal belief about yourself
Mhm.
and that you can do it
Uh-huh.
and that it's there. What I think has happened in society and how the media and our social conditioning has trained us is to look outside of ourselves for that external validation with
Makes sense.
everything.
Right.
And if we don't receive it outside of ourselves, we don't know that we can be confident inside because we didn't receive the what we would say the markers were that other people
Yep.
loved us or accepted us or for us to feel good about ourselves, and it's
Yeah.
just not taught. But really, if you're good and grounded and you know that you can do it, you can do whatever you put your mind to, you're authentic in it, then that confidence is there. It's just a strong belief in yourself. And then
Oh, yeah, but I mean, you've just described a very powerful first initiation, right? Which is to be inwardly focused enough to know what is important to you,
yeah.
and that if you don't get it, you're still okay, and you're going to keep persevering until you do get it.
Mhm.
So, um, I think that's really powerful. And I think like you saying, the first thing is you have to identify what it is that you want, right?
Mhm.
Want, need, whatever that word you want to make, and then start to take the actions. In the hero's journey, you would say you want to find a mentor, right? And the
Yes,
mentor leads you into the magic elixir,
exactly.
and that's who you are as the mentor for some of these people, I would imagine.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I've been there. I know the pathway, and I know how to transform it not just in myself, but also when I work with other people because of how laws of physics works, you can make those energetic changes within them, and then they have the things that they have been asking for.
Yeah, no, that's powerful. Well, what type of people do you find that you resonate the most with and that you work the best with?
That's a pretty eclectic mix of people.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
that. So I do have people come to me with the wealth category. people who want to learn. So I teach everything that I do. They want to, they're people in the metaphysical world, the spiritual world. They might be business owners or entrepreneurs, coaches that really want to learn and take what they've learned to their clients. The other group of people are people who just, they don't want to learn it. They just want you to do it for them
Hmm.
and just have the result. And so those are more of my VIP clients where I do custom work. And sometimes I do custom teach as well based on the individual's needs. And then that's kind of really the last category, are the ones that really want to take that year journey and do the custom work, do the intensives, do everything. So they have a whole recalibration of their life.
Yeah.
So some are issue focused, some want the year long, and some want to learn.
Wow. And then in your practice, you said you lived in Montana. You got a great view. What's your nature bathing regimen like?
Get up in the morning, make coffee. A Buddhist monk taught me how to make coffee. It was one of the most comical moments that I've ever had. And then after I go through my little coffee ritual making moment, I usually go sit on my deck and I go and do my meditation. I get ready for the day, go out throughout the day. If I need to, I'll do it in the mid-afternoon and then in the evening. But if I have big blocks of time, or
Right.
if I'm just doing computer work, I take my computer outside and I'm sitting out on the deck. Uh,
Nice.
and if I get to, I'll escape and I'll go hiking or kayaking, or in the winter, I'll go cross country skiing, because the more you're outside, the more of those positive ions you get, the clearer your mind becomes. And the answers, because they're always inside of you, are there. And chaos leaves your life.
Yeah. Well, that I agree with deeply, and that's been my secret. And I can't believe the number of things that have come to me by just standing outside,
Hmm.
looking at the trees,
Yes.
or spending purposeful time outside alone, and then working meditation practices and getting fed by that higher vibration.
Hmm. Yes.
Well, good. I guess what do you recommend for people who are like, they know they want to change, but they're not sure what to do? How do we get people from that
Mhm.
part over that bridge of indecision?
The easiest way is I just have people book a 15-20 minute phone call on my calendar, and we understand what their goals are, who they are, what they want to accomplish. And then once that information is there, I can show them what's stopping them, what is blocking them, and then what is the best possible pathway for them. And then they have the ultimate choice to choose. So that's the easiest way. If you don't know, ask
Yeah.
and get the information. And then if it's not me, look up other people, because other people do this work too. So you're gonna align with the person that you resonate with.
Yeah, but I would just say that it's important to get help and get the help that you, like you say, that you resonate with, and then work the program that they recommend for you.
What
Be a good student.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's the hardest hurdle is we're not trying to ask for what we want or what our needs are. And so we don't ask. We just anticipate or expect people to know, but we
Right.
don't. We don't even know for ourselves sometimes. So
Right.
the simplest thing is ask.
Yeah.
I think it says, "Ask and you shall receive."
Yeah. Well, good. That's probably the best way to end right there. Usually I ask on what for one thing, but I think you hit it on the head there, Don. Ask and you shall receive. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and I really appreciate you spending time here having this conversation with me.
Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
All right. Well, you have a great day, and I hope you get outside.
Oh, yes.
Thanks for listening to this episode of NatureBound. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. If you found value in today's episode, please share with someone who needs to hear it. Be sure to purchase your copy of The 7 Principles of the Magic Rock at EmanuelRose.com or on Amazon. We thank you again for joining us today, and remember to get NatureBound.